Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jack. It's no secret that healers can be kind of strange, especially when it comes to your gearing strategies. So today I want to go over how to sim your gear, how to sim your great vault rewards, and how to choose really the best options for everything for your character going into the new season. So whenever you're curious as to how you're optimizing your character properly, a lot of times we're going off of what we've seen from other people, but you can do it just yourself all on your own. What you'll need is the Simulation Craft add-on that you can get from CurseForge. Links are all in the description down below. And then all you have to do is type /simc, and then it'll pop up a paste of your character, all of your gear, your professions, all of that fun stuff. What it's also going to provide is when you go to your Great Vault, it'll then record what you actually have as your options in the Great Vault. You can just pop it open, type /simc, and then at the bottom, it'll actually go over the additional options if you haven't already selected them. So what you want to do is you want to take this paste, then you want to make sure that you go to the website, Questionableyepic.com, as they have all of the options and things that you need to get yourself started. So first, you're going to be looking at which of the characters, and you can of course just add a character. Like if I wanted to add my buddy Rain Jacket, I'd go to the region, US, Tychondrius, select class. He's a Resto Shaman, and he is a dwarf. Enter in all of my information and everything like that. Get it all squared away. Hit the add button. Then your character is going to be added, ready to go. It'll have all of the things that you need. But if you wanted to enter in the specific gear, your current stats, that's where you need a SimC add-on to help draw from, because just pulling your armory alone won't know what's in your bags or what your Great Vault is. So we'll use my Priest as an example right here. Grab it into the top gear slot, and then at the top right, you will hit Import Gear. Now, it's going to do all this numbers and math and all that fun stuff, which is based off of your presets that they have on the site as well. The important thing about this is that everyone's gear can be a little bit different. And if you really wanted to min-max, you can always go to various class discords, like this is the Priest class discord spreadsheet, where they are allowing you to copy the spreadsheet, put in your character, put in all your info, and then calculate your stats and your stat weights in a section just like this one right here. And so you can then start deducing, oh, okay, what do I need for a healing environment, a damage environment, whatever your priorities are going to be. Most of the time, I just like to leave it on default and not get anything too terribly complicated. So once you have your big SimC paste, you're gonna go and click the top gear, you're gonna go to Import Gear, and then you are just going to hit enter, and you'll see the end of weekly reward choices and the various options. These are the ones I had from this week, for example. So they'll show them at the base level. And then of course, when you want to start looking at the vault and you say, hey, well, I want to make sure these are max level, upgrade that vault to max level. So it'll assume that Crixvisix Speech Rod is going to be 639. When the comparison comes up, because you can upgrade your gear. Once you've imported your gear, it'll show you everything that you are currently wearing and all of the various options that you have for your gear. So what you would want to be doing in this situation is finding out what the best options for you. So at the moment, it's selected 15 options. And so if you're debating between one thing or another, or you simply just want to know the difference, I have the Cyrclet neck and I want to compare that to the emergency stop keychain. I can select up to 30 different options in my bags, start comparing them, contrasting them. So I can just go down the line and start selecting every 639 option, every max eye level option, where you can kind of see what the difference for them might be. An important part is that you're going to see all of your Great Vault options highlighted in Great Vault, and of course they're going to be added to your selection automatically. So this means that you could just import the top gear, import your SimC string, and then you'll be ready to go to start comparing and seeing which of these items are going to be preferred. While at the same time, you can start looking at, potentially rings or different crafted pieces that you might have on hand that you might want to do a couple of compare contrasts on as well. So for this example, I have my Crix Speech Rod, which, as we checked the box earlier, is already upgraded to max level with the assumption that I would fully upgrade it, and then we'd be able to see how it matches up against the Takaj Edict, which is also at a 639. Then all you have to do is hit go, and then it'll start going with your optimal set of gear, your optimal set of options, and what you might want to be running with. And so it's able to highlight, hey, you might want to take the gloves out of the vault because of the other options that you have on hand, namely seeing what you had before and then what is going to be added on to that, or what you could sort of change over to it. You'll be able to see the comparisons for taking one option over another, the HPS differences from it. And in my case, this is kind of coming from a raid perspective with these stats, where it says, oh, you might want to get the gloves because that'll help you the most in raid. But if I wanted to have an M+ weapon, well, this haste verse focus weapon would then be better than the haste mastery focus weapon. And that's why the stats are so important at the very beginning, because they can start shifting your answer depending on your priorities. Very important to start keeping in mind. But with that, you're able to start seeing what's going to be the best option for you. You're also going to be able to go through the various trinket ratings that they have on the website. And this is a hugely important thing as every new season gets started, because then you don't have to go through the SimC setup. You don't have to go through the gear comparison if you don't need to. You have a quick fire reference right here on the site that you can pull up and start using their graph to start saying, oh, okay, how much value is a 616 piece? I do kind of wish they'd add commas. I love commas for these kind of things, but I digress. It's going to show you the ratings compared to your other options with filters. So if you only want to compare things that are dropping in the raid, if you only want to compare things that are dropping in a Mythic Plus environment, then you're going to be able to do so. Now, I know this shows Season 1 stuff because at the time of this video, that's when we recorded it, but there's a lot of trinkets for Season 2 and beyond that have 1 million words attached to it, just like Spy Masters, and it's a whole bunch to read and parse through. The question mark right next to it is English, basically. This is what the trinket does. This is how it works. This is how you utilize it. This is why it's good. And it goes down the line for each of the various trinkets, and good for understanding why you might want this trinket, why you might not want this trinket every single time. There's a number of bonus effects like the Serial Concoctory, where it procs various stat buffs on other players, worthless for healing, but it's actually quite good as a damage trinket. And then you don't have to break down every single individual buff and what it does. It's just in plain English how this setup works. Same thing with some of these effects that are requiring movement and not requiring movement. It makes it so much easier to start understanding. They also do that for the Circe's Cyrclet, which will be really valuable to know when we want to replace it in Season 2. We also have upgrades, so you can go find your next piece of upgrade, quick compares for your items, embellishes and how powerful they are for HPS, DPS, or with both of them in mind. That can also help fuel some of your crafting recommendations that you have as well. When it comes to the upgrade finder, you're going to be able to, one, import your gear just like we did last time, keeping all our gear to max level with my gear, let's say. Then you can start looking at what difficulties that you play out of and where are you going to be getting those potential rewards from, what is going to be the best benefit to you. Then I'm just going to max out everything for my sliders, and I'm going to assume that we're crafting with haste and mastery from like a raid perspective. Hit the go button, and then it'll be able to show you from raids, from dungeons, from crafted, from world bosses. You can do it by slot as well. You could say, I just want to see every single option in the game, and where does it come from, right? I want to see every single cloak in the game. Where does it come from? How high a value is it going to be if I got a 639 specific drop from this area or another area? Where are the trinket options I could be getting, like Gale of Shadows? If it drops on mythic difficulty, it's this much of an upgrade, and be able to very easily, quickly sort of compare what you want to have as upgrades. It'll also give you the percentage of an upgrade too. So if you're really curious about how big of an upgrade each piece is, you get a nice approximation, along with better being able to plan out your raids and your dungeons around what bosses that you want to make sure that you're focusing on and what actually is going to be giving you an upgrade. Keep in mind, while I use this for Priest, it's not the only spec that's supported on the website. Questionablyepic is supporting all of the healers' various websites, and they're also working on more tools like inserting your Warcraft logs, fights, and inserting your characters into them to be able to better judge your stat weights if that's something that you're also interested in. The base website as well for Questionableyepic also has all kinds of really cool content. They've been working on guides on the side. The creator of this website also writes the Wowhead guides for Resto Druid and for Preservation Evoker. And he's also doing boss guides. Here's some of the examples that we had from Nerebar Palace, outlining what each role has to do, what everybody has to do, what the boss arena is going to be looking like, what the big mechanics are, and how they are going to be focusing on. There's a really huge wealth of information on the site, and I'd highly recommend you have this in your bookmarks ready to go for next expansion. If you want to support him further, I don't get any cutback for this or anything along those lines, but Questionablyepic, with Volk as the creator, does a crazy amount of stuff for the community. As a guide writer myself for Wowhead, he does an insane amount of things behind the scenes for us to get us ready with the best information possible. So I'll also have his Patreon linked if you want to support that as well. Big love to him and for all the work that he is doing. Like I said, you can use this in conjunction with some of the spreadsheets from some of the various class discords, and you have a lot of very powerful tools to get the best data-driven analysis possible to maximize your character. So thank you so much for watching, and thanks to our own patrons for making all this content possible. Hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful, and I'll catch you all next time.